So without further ado, please join me in welcoming University of Michigan President Mary Sue Coleman for the 2014 Robert Atwell Lecture, which she has titled, Innovate, Disrupt, Repeat. Mary Sue Coleman.
Well, thank you very much. I am completely honored to be here, to have been selected for this award, and I thank all on the American Council of Higher Education, the American Council on Education, who have made it possible. I also congratulate the organizing committee for selecting San Diego as the site for the annual meeting. Having endured the most severe winter in recorded history in Ann Arbor, both in snowfall and in the cold, it's a delight to be in the sunshine. In fact, our gathering today reminds me of another presentation that I made to the ACE annual meeting more than 10 years ago on the eve of arguing the Michigan affirmative action cases before the U.S. Supreme Court. It was March 2003, and I was set to travel to Washington, D.C., but a wicked snowstorm there made travel all but impossible. Both our staff sprang into action and quickly devised a way for me to speak to those assembled in D.C. by live video conference. So I am especially delighted that ACE chose to have a better weather location for this meeting. Bob Atwell was a towering figure in American higher education, and his positive influence in both public and private spheres will endure for a very long time. I regret that he can't be here for the meeting this year, since I know that he's been a faithful attendee at this lecture for many years. I will make sure that he receives a copy of my remarks, and I want to take this opportunity to thank him for his dedication to our education enterprise throughout his career and into his retirement. This afternoon, I'm going to address a topic that is emerging in importance across the higher education landscape, and one in which I've been deeply engaged in the last decade at the University of Michigan. Our challenge in the state of Michigan has been immense. Little did I realize when I cheerfully accepted the presidency of UM in 2002 that the state would be entering its worst financial decade since the Great Depression of the 1930s. As all of you probably know, that the state of Michigan was the epicenter for innovation and disruptive technologies in the first half of the 20th century. This was a place where Henry Ford revolutionized automobile design and construction. The Gerbers invented the concept of baby food in Fremont. Breakfast cereal as an early morning staple was conceived, produced, and successfully marketed in Battle Creek. Office furniture was literally invented, and many such companies developed in the Grand Rapids area. Thomas Edison did some of his most inventive work in Michigan. The state was simply a hotbed of creativity. It was the Silicon Valley of the time. But then something happened in the second part of the 20th century. The auto industry and its suppliers stopped innovating. The companies became top-heavy and complacent. Well-paying jobs that required almost no education were prevalent, and entrepreneurs were not supported as in other areas of the country. When the financial crisis came, it was a huge shock in every single part of the state. Between the years 2000 and 2008, Michigan lost 1 million jobs, and ironically, because of other rapid changes in productivity enhancements in labor, most of those are not coming back. Financial shock waves hit Michigan harder than almost any other state. An important data point for me is that in 1999, Michigan was a top 10 state in support for public higher education. By the end of the next decade, it was in the bottom 10. Our unemployment rate hit 15%. So by the time the rest of the nation began experiencing the effects of the recession, the state of Michigan was already ground zero in the economic downturn. Out of this adversity, though, came new thinking in our state and at the University of Michigan. It was clear that we could no longer afford to be insular and internally focused as we had operated for so many decades. All of us had to adapt to rapid change, to become more entrepreneurial in our thinking, and to refresh outdated modes of operation. We recognized the pressing need to build deeper connections with our peer institutions and with industry. We wanted to be greater catalysts for economic development and technology commercialization. We knew that we would have to take a good, hard look at ourselves, identifying some fundamental institutional barriers to entrepreneurial thinking and creative activity. I'll share some of what we learned and what we changed when I talk this afternoon. Perhaps the biggest question that we ask ourselves institutionally was this: why did the university need more entrepreneurs and more entrepreneurial thinking? One answer was simple: because we need to prepare our graduates for the volatile economy swirling around us into which they would be plunged. Our ground zero experience gave us an early glimpse into what is so well known. Job paths are not predictable. Most careers are not built with lifetime loyalty to a singular company or institution, but are a series of pivots requiring flexibility and the ability to deal with change as a positive force. Entrepreneurship gives us a mindset to get into new ground, to get to the next step, to take the theoretical knowledge we have learned and apply it creatively and practically to a wide variety of solutions. Another answer to the question of why universities need more entrepreneurs is a little more complex. It turns out that it is not just about what our students will gain from an education grounded in entrepreneurial principles, but also about what our university gains from the same entrepreneurial mindset focused on innovation. If we're to practice what we teach about entrepreneurship, it means becoming more externally focused, learning to work across boundaries and cross-disciplinary teams, fostering greater risk-taking so innovation can thrive and not suffocate from bureaucracy. It means experimentation, testing, retooling, occasionally failing as we iterate towards success. It means creating capacity for real and continuous change. Here's what I hope to underscore in my remarks today. The principles that we teach our students about entrepreneurship are exactly the same principles of all higher education needs to navigate in today's turbulent waters. Our entire sector faces the buffeting forces of enormous and disruptive change. Entrepreneurship teaches us to use that change as a positive force, to adapt, to lead. It is time for our universities to infuse entrepreneurship into the curriculum, our research, and our operations. And it is time for all of us in higher education to become the innovators we are teaching our students to be. I'm pleased to report that higher education has made astonishing progress in this area. As co-chair of the National Advisory Council on Innovation and Entrepreneurship beginning in 2011, I partnered with university presidents Bud Peterson, Michael Crow, and Holden Thorpe to bring attention to what was happening on our campuses. We asked the federal government to continue to work with us, and in 2013, the Department of Commerce issued an extensive report detailing the depth and breadth of innovation in campuses across the country. And many of you were involved in that effort. I loved the first sentence of the report's executive summary. America's colleges and universities have gotten the entrepreneurial bug. Indeed, we have, and I recommend the report as an excellent resource for compelling examples of entrepreneurial thinking across higher education. Based on our experience at the University of Michigan over the past decade, I believe that there are three keys to a more innovative and entrepreneurial environment in higher education. The first is to establish supportive policies and infrastructure so that innovation can thrive. If we believe that innovation and entrepreneurial thinking are critical, we need to align our incentives, especially our hiring, promotion, and tenure processes, to reflect such actions. Most importantly, we worked with the executive committees, the faculty committees, in each of our schools and colleges to recognize faculty entrepreneurship in tenure and promotion decisions. So for Michigan faculty members who are interested in technology commercialization, and this has been a growing number each year, we now recognize their effort on invention disclosures, patent filing, license agreements, and startup companies. In addition, we made it clear that our students have full ownership of their intellectual properties and created funding and mentorship to support vehicles for student ideas to flourish. Also, we renovated our conflict of interest policies so the university is able to identify and manage conflicts effectively without a highly bureaucratic practice that could have a chilling effect on activity. Our changes in policy did not happen overnight and took great consideration, but the end result has been a dramatic increase in total activity. At the same time, we realized it was just plain hard for university entrepreneurs to get the institutional support that they needed and for the business community to connect with us at all. Over the last decade, we have enhanced our tech transfer office, created a venture center to connect investors with university projects, and built a highly successful model for business interaction called our Business Engagement Center, or the BEC. Now the BEC interacts with about 350 businesses annually. Every year, the BEC fields about 200 inquiries from new companies as well. It has become a front door and service center for industry hoping to tap into university expertise. Successful university business partnerships are forged at the BEC. The second key to a more entrepreneurial campus is to build a vibrant campus-wide ecosystem. At Michigan, we began with our foundation at the Ross School of Business, where the Zell Lurie Institute has long had a reputation for strong entrepreneurship programs, especially at the master's level. And then, as is so many instances across higher education, our students led the drive for more student support, curriculum options, and organizations. I'm here to tell you, and many of you have probably seen this generation of students has a passion for entrepreneurship that almost knows no bounds. 1 in 7 Michigan students now participates in the hundreds of entrepreneurship classes and activities on the campus. The College of Engineering launched a Center for Entrepreneurship. Our law school founded a student-run clinic designed to support student entrepreneurs on campus. It has become a wildfire. Our schools of public health, information, medicine, and literature, science, and the arts are all actively involved. We have student incubators, several business plan competitions, and a business idea prize called 1,000 Pitches. The year the program was launched, the student organizers hoped for 1,000 business idea submissions, and this project is now about 5 years old. This past year, 5,300 unique student business ideas rolled in. We have 15 student organizations dedicated to entrepreneurship alone. I'm always amazed with our students' ingenuity and their deep commitment to making the world a better place. One important element in the concept of entrepreneurship in the minds of today's students is the importance of doing good, not just doing well. I love the story of Michigan student Grace Shaw. She's shown here. She was an engineering undergraduate and one of the first students in our new Masters of Entrepreneurship program. Grace founded a company called Warmaloo, which is developing low-cost, non-electrical warming blankets for premature infants. Grace used several UM resources to get her company off the ground during her time as a student on the Ann Arbor campus. But Grace began with the data point that 140 babies die worldwide every hour from hypothermia-related causes. Her innovative ideas addressed a pressing need with these low-cost, high-tech baby blankets that can save lives. She built a team, learned how to manufacture the blankets, and is selling her heat packs through various retailers here and abroad. And true to our students' passion for the public good, Ormelu's products sold in the United States are subsidizing the cost of blankets disseminated in the developing world, where most of the infant fatalities occur. Grace is an example of a student who took advantage of our full range of offerings, including curriculum specifically built around entrepreneurship. I'm especially interested in the growth of related curriculum over just the past few years. At Michigan, we now have 64 graduate and 37 undergraduate entrepreneurship course offerings with 4,500 students enrolled. Just this year, we created a new position called Senior Counselor to the Provost for Entrepreneurial Education. This role is aimed at knitting together all the various opportunities across campus. In fact, we're in the early stages in the design of a minor that will be open to all students. We believe in a campus-wide engagement of academic units, bringing a spectrum of insights to the table. Our hope is that we can provide entrepreneurship curricular and co-curricular opportunities to every single Michigan student. This week, the university is launching a new website, and the theme is targeted to student entrepreneurship opportunities. We call it Innovate Blue. I can't be online here so that I can't show you exactly how this works, but it's a lively compilation of the resources now available to students, and you can access the stories by hovering over the images on the home page. So you can't quite see how it works, but it's a quick preview of what we're trying to accomplish and let students see what is available to them. But you can find the website at www.innovateblue.umich.edu. Innovation in pedagogy is a must if our universities are to continue to deliver relevant, valuable education that best reflects contemporary needs. Consider the effort underway at the University of Michigan Medical School. Michigan is one of 11 medical schools nationwide undertaking a significant renovation of medical school core curriculum to better prepare students for a highly complex healthcare environment. The American Medical Association has awarded $11 million to these schools so that together we can help prepare the next generation of doctors to be change agents, as well as to harness creativity, flexibility, and team orientation in their work. Also, a new scholarly concentration option will allow students to gain entrepreneurial knowledge and skills, facilitating technology transfer, new business development, and disruptive solutions to healthcare challenges. Most importantly, an entrepreneurial mindset throughout our curriculum pushes students to simultaneously think at a level of deep theory, high abstraction, and grounded practicality. So at Michigan, we learned that the first key to a more innovative university was to develop supportive policies and infrastructure with the goal of lowering institutional barriers to innovation. And the second key has been to build a vibrant campus-wide ecosystem, including a wide variety of opportunities. Both are enormous undertakings and have taken a decade to develop, but we've made good progress. The third step, though, was especially challenging because it forced us out of our comfortable and traditional ways of operating. We needed to create a new culture of innovation, one that encouraged greater innovation and risk-taking, as well as a great deal more collaboration with external partners. For this, we had to reach far outside our comfort zone. Not so easy for long-established institutions such as those in higher education. We had prevailed through countless challenging stretches in earlier decades without enduring truly disruptive change. But perhaps creating a new culture became easier for us because at the University of Michigan, our state had been so economically devastated. We simply couldn't go on the way we had before. I want to tell you about two fairly recent examples of innovation and risk-taking, both involving university investments in our faculty research. The first we call MINTS, Michigan Investment in New Technologies. After significant analysis and modeling, we determined that we could invest in our own faculty-developed technologies while continuing to steward strong returns for our endowment. We committed to investing endowment funds in our own faculty's licensed technology up to $25 million over the next decade, provided that the technology has received a first round of venture funding from an outside entity. So this is passive investing. We don't make any decisions. So far, we've invested almost $5 million and have 8 faculty companies in the university's portfolio. We believe in our faculty members, and we're confident we can demonstrate an innovative yet prudent approach in the financial model. Next, we launched an extremely unusual research funding program called M-Cubed. It's a completely out-of-the-box approach designed to fund promising interdisciplinary faculty research ideas at the earliest stage. It works like this. Each faculty member potentially has a token worth $20,000. When 3 faculty members from different disciplines, they have to be from different disciplines, collaborate on an innovative research project and combine 3 tokens, we say they have cubed the idea. The university combines funding from various sources to provide $60,000 to these 3 faculty so that they can begin working immediately. No peer review, no other hoops, just immediate startup. We've partnered with our schools and colleges to provide up to $15 million in total resources during the 2-year pilot, and already one of the cubed projects has received a multi-million, multi-year grant from NSF to continue the research. We've seen tremendous faculty interest in M-Cubed, with 220 ideas proposed so far. In a way, the university is acting as an intellectual venture capitalist. Perhaps just as hard as facing our deep-seated risk aversion was the sobering reality that we could not be successful on our own. Here in the Academy, we have long prided ourselves in being the marketplace of ideas, haven't we? As if our hallowed halls are the only source of knowledge exchange. But of course, it is simply not true. Our marketplace has been, in fact, a very siloed space and a very insular one. The dire economic circumstances of the past decade forced us to recognize that we absolutely must partner with others, that we must become a much more open marketplace out of which we venture and to which others are invited. Many of my campus colleagues have heard me put it this way. In academia, we have long lived by the publish or perish rule. But in today's world, I say we must partner or perish. At Michigan, we've worked very hard to be better collaborators and partners. Our alliance with Michigan State University and Wayne State University, which we call the University Research Corridor, is focused on talent creation, collaboration and research, and with the business community, and acceleration of technologies into the marketplace to spur economic development. Also, we are immensely grateful to an organization of statewide CEOs called Business Leaders for Michigan, or the BLM, for their partnership and support of higher education. The BLM sees a strong network of public universities as one of the state's key assets for future competitiveness, and I think it's telling about the state of our collaboration that Michigan State University President Luana Simon and Wayne State University President Roy Wilson and I sit with the CEOs as members of the organization. Every day, we work closely with partners in the business, state government, and nonprofit sectors to implement ideas that can generate new economic development and have great impact in our state and country. So at the University of Michigan, we are all in when it comes to entrepreneurship and innovation. This is who we are now: knowledge drivers, talent developers, business attractors, partners, collaborators, and increasingly, entrepreneurs. Always, we are teachers. Now we're finding new ways to teach important concepts baked into entrepreneurial behavior. The state of Michigan was known for its disruptive technologies in the early part of the 20th century. And now, in the early part of the 21st, our state and our university have forged opportunity out of adversity as we create the disruptive innovation necessary to meet contemporary needs. Constant change is here to stay. If we're to create what former National Science Foundation Director Subra Suresh and others call a national culture of innovation, we all have critical roles to play. I want to leave you with one final story. Since we're talking about Michigan, we just have to talk about cars. We know a thing or two about the automobile industry in our state, but this is not your grandfather's Oldsmobile. Right now, on the Ann Arbor campus, we are building a mini city. It's a 30-acre test facility on our North Campus, fashioned as a miniature urban streetscape, complete with roads, traffic lights, and buildings. We are researching the future of transportation safety, when cars will automatically connect to one another and collect enormous amounts of data about the environment surrounding them. In fact, today's cars have become technology platforms that continue to make our vehicles smarter and our travel safer. It is a fascinating time in the auto industry, crackling with creativity and innovation. Today's model for research and technology commercialization includes a remarkable level of collaboration. The university's researchers and students, the state, the federal government, and the car companies are making it happen together. We have reimagined our future. Entrepreneurship and disruptive innovation, engaged learning, technology commercialization, and collaboration is making it happen now. Thank you.